Hey, how's it going, y'all? So I totally appreciate your questions for the Q&A, and I'm sorry it took a little while to get to this video, but here I am, and I'm about to pull these up real quick and just go down the line. I'm not sure if you guys want to be addressed as far as, by name, so I want to respect privacy just in case. But let's see here. First question. Well, I guess if you're posting it in public, your name's attached to it. Hello. So, first question is from Jane the Jubilant and says, let's see. Are there any fragrances or fragrance notes which affect you in a negative way? I don't know about negative, but I'm not the biggest fan of florals in general. So, like, tuberose is very difficult for me. Sometimes jasmine and anything that is kind of like that fecal, barnyard, nasty, poopy, shitty smell. Yeah, those just, it's interesting and intriguing because it's different, but it's certainly not something that I want to smell like, and probably not something that I would buy. I find it very surprising sometimes. I've put on a fragrance before and the dry down is that way, and I had no clue that it started out that way. In that instance, because it's like a surprise, I don't mind it as much, but I've smelled stuff like the one that just come into mind is Frederick Mahl's Night. That was very interesting, but I could not wear it. I found it, like I said, very unique, and there are other ouds too. I've smelled a oud, musk oud by Alphori, Auphori. That one is a funky, musky, oudy smell too. It's okay, just I don't know if I would wear it. The dry down's not bad, but yeah, it's a long answer. I'm sorry, but nothing that's super negative. I just wouldn't wear them. I don't have I don't gag or anything, thankfully, or I haven't yet on anything that I've smelled. How about you? Anything that you may be repulsed by and have this physical reaction? Yeah, let's see. It says you said like make you sneeze or tickle your nose. No, not really. Are there any notes that you'd like to smell in perfumery which you haven't come across? You know what's funny? So I really like the smell of an air conditioner, not the mildew smell, because that's just mildew, right? There's this particular scent that some air conditioners produce. It's like this dusty, kind of mechanical, damp scent that has a little bit of like earthy and sweetness to it. And I smelt a Chris Rusak fragrance that is called it's an acronym, and I cannot remember what it stands for, but I'll look it up right now. After Every Ounce of Joy. That's what it's called. It's apparently a very popular fragrance. I have a little sample of it, and I smelled that fragrance, and that one just blew me away because that's what that air conditioning scent to me smells like. The fragrance he made is different, but it has that note in there, and it's awesome because I don't know how he did it. I know he used vinyl and some other offhand, or not offhand, but uncommon notes to produce it when I looked it up. But yeah, that one was really cool. So if you can get I think it's discontinued, or I think Chris Rusak only makes limited runs of his stuff. But that one was a very, very cool fragrance when I smelled it. So that was a scent that I didn't even know someone could make, or even he probably didn't even intend to make it because it smelled like that AC smell, but it reminded me of that. So thank you for your questions. Great stuff. I love answering that. Thank you. Next is from What's That Smell? And he or she asked, what are amongst your least favorite fragrances? Florals. I mean, just most of the time, heavy floral fragrances are rank pretty low for me, and I'm coming around to them. I'm getting used to them. I'm trying to challenge myself. Rose was really the first floral that I've really gotten into, so I think I'm slowly kind of working my way into like tuberose and jasmine and stuff like that. I don't mind ylang ylang. It's kind of this yellow, happy, fruity smell to me. I don't like freesia that much, and I do like. I don't like carnation. Not my favorite. And what was the other one that I do like? Actually, it's geranium. It's a very minty smell, so I do like that scent. But as far as florals goes, but as a whole, as a group, I would say florals are my least favorite fragrances. Specific ones that I have smelled that I'm like, ugh, I would never want to smell again. Secretions Magnifique. I think that's just like a kind of a novelty at this point. I would not. It smells like blood. I mean, cool, I guess, if that's what you want to smell like, but not my cup of tea. How about you? Anything that that you can come up with that is not, or it's your least favorite fragrance? It says, has my nose, and next question was, has my nose improved since I first got into fragrances? 100%, absolutely. I have deliberately gone out of my way to smell as many things as I possibly can. That's everything from clothes, shirts, blankets, candles, air fresheners, laundry detergent, seasonings, spices. I'm really trying to nail down the spices and seasonings, and then I test myself. I'll smell it, close my eyes. So I consider it like training almost, but I had a decent palate for taste before I got into fragrances because I was very into beer and whiskey and tequila, and I do enjoy cannabis. So those flavors are the I learned how to pick those notes out, and so because of that, and plus I'm a foodie, I really love food. So in order to appreciate food, you do have to have some of those nuances. I will say this: this is, again, I always mention fitness, or I seem to, but this part of my life, and sorry if it gets redundant for you guys, but I go on some pretty strict diets, and every time I do that, I'm able to increase my palate because my food choices and what I'm eating is very, very much limited, and I'm pretty much cooking everything for myself. I don't go out to eat for extended periods of time. Like, for instance, right now I've been dieting for 22 weeks, 23 weeks, and I've only eaten out probably 3 or 4 times in that time period, and that was at the very beginning. But outside of that, I pretty much cooked everything since then. So because of that, I control all the flavors, so I have to get really good at trying to replicate what I like to eat outside of my house, and I try and make it here. So it's been a process, and I've been doing this for 15 years, so I've gotten pretty decent. And that goes along with me developing my nose as well. So I attribute that entire story that I just told you to increasing the way that I can identify notes. But I'm still very much a novice, in my opinion. I wish I was better, and that's the goal, right? Small incremental improvements over time yields big results. So, are there any fragrances that you tend to smell everywhere? Oh, for sure. I smell Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, Baccarat, Aventus. Those 4, I can pretty much guarantee if it's a fragrance that I'm smelling, it's usually one of those 4 out in the wild. Now, I will say this: There's variations. I don't think they're always the real stuff. So, but typically when I ask or compliment, it's one of those fragrances. And I'll not as often, but I do smell Y EDP almost as much. But that one's kind of up there too. So, great questions. What's that smell? Next is Liam GD4QI. And this is, he says, or he or she, I'm assuming Liam, it's a boy or a man, so I'm sorry if you're a woman, my apologies, but he says, you come home and catch a whiff of a funny smell, how do I react, or how do you react? Would you need to find it, or you just need to try and cover it up? How you can't find it and that smell gets worse, how would you go about locating the source? Okay, let's go with the first question. How would I react? I would be off-put because my home really, I'm typically pretty good about what my house smells like. Usually I would just go straight to the trash and I would say, maybe something spoiled, but I usually try and anything that's going to spoil, like meat, bones, or even like a lot of veggie refuse, just like my peelings and stuff like that, I'll bag it up and throw it out and not leave it in my garbage. So that's not that common. Next would go to my cat's litter box. So that would be how I would react. Yes, I would definitely need to find where it's coming from. I'm not one to just let it sit. Can't do that. Next question is, you can't find it and it gets worse. How would you go about locating the source? Well, I kind of already addressed that. How much would it annoy me? If I couldn't find it, it would bug the shit out of me. I would probably be sniffing up and down until I could find it, more than likely. Any good stories about you having to sniff around for the source of a strange smell? Let me think. Yes. Okay. Back to fitness and health. So, again, if you've ever used a protein shaker bottle and you've used whey protein, you know that if you let it sit for a couple of hours, especially in the heat, it's going to start to get real funky. If you let it sit longer, it's going to get real bad. So, this was probably, I don't even know, 10 years ago, let's just say. I had apparently left a shaker bottle that had a little bit of whey protein in my car. And I didn't know that. I didn't know it was open. It was in my back seat. And fortunately for me, it wasn't open the whole time. I must have taken a turn or jostled something around that the lid moved, and it was on my floorboard. I drive a two-door, so I don't really go in the back. I don't really have a back seat. It's just a floor behind me pretty much. And it was my weight belt, and I had started smelling it, and I was like, what is going on? And so I had taken the bottle out already, but some of that whey isolate water, like mixture, had gotten on my weight belt, but it hadn't dried. And so over time it got drier, and it was just a little strip, and it started smelling. And so I was smelling everything, and that's what it ended up being. I didn't know what it was because I couldn't even, it wasn't wet anymore. It just smelled. And it gets really hot where I live. I live in South Texas, so yeah, that took me a long time for me to kind of figure that out from where it came from. Let's see here. This is from the Lady Cleo. Thank you for saying I'm interesting. I do appreciate the compliment. Have I had any funny, embarrassing reactions to fragrances while I'm wearing it? Funny, not so much. Embarrassing, sometimes I'll wear things that I might be extra self-conscious of, and I try and be aware of the people around me. Usually my wife will tell me right away that I don't smell good, or the fragrance is not her favorite, so I'll know that. But sometimes she's not around when I spray something, and yeah, I get a little bit self-conscious, but at the end of the day, I know that it can't be that bad, because I'm not a heavy sprayer, especially if it's something that I know might offend people. I try and be a little bit of self-aware. with at the same time trying to be myself, right? There's always that fine balance of trying to express yourself and be true to at least who you are, who you think you are, or who you want to be, and in being respectful within society. For me, at least, some people, I get it. They don't want to. They don't see it that way, but that's okay. You know what? We all do different. We all have our different perspectives on life, and that's okay. But no, nothing that really sticks out to me. Let's see. My friends might make a comment that I smell, different or unique, but never really. It's not really too rude or cruel, thankfully. And have I ever had a funny, embarrassing reaction to others are wearing? Oh, no, not funny. Sometimes I'll chase down people and I'll go ask them what they're wearing. I think it takes them off guard sometimes because they're probably not used to that. But I love it when people ask me about my fragrances, and I think it's very cool to get asked because most people don't. So I'd like to kind of repay that favor. I did ask a dude the other day. I was like, "Hey, I smelled you. I smelled something in the locker room. I didn't know if you had sprayed a fragrance." And he's like, "No, that wasn't me. Sorry." I was like, "No, no, no, don't apologize. Like I liked the scent. It smelled good." He's like, "No, I didn't spray anything." I was like, oh, "Okay, cool. You like have a good day." But I think he was a little weirded out. So, you know, I don't mean for that to happen. I just want to be. I thought I'd pay him a compliment. What are your interests and hobbies outside of fragrance? Well, I obviously can't stop talking about the fitness and health stuff. So yeah, I'm a natural bodybuilder. I got my pro card. I just turned pro this year. I'm going to be competing. I like doing that. I like trail running and high rocks. So all of the fitness stuff. Really love cooking. Um, I love reading. I read quite a bit. Pretty good blend, mostly of nonfiction. Am reading a fiction book right now. It's near Halloween. It's called Slade House by David Mitchell. So if you want a spooky story, it's a quick read. That's a good one. A little bit sci-fi, a little bit kind of like, yeah, I would say sci-fi. So if that's up your alley, check that out. Nonfiction stuff. I've got a history major, so that's my bread and butter. I like reading that. I like reading sports literature, like physiology and stuff like that. Reading that kind of stuff. Obviously, I make uh, fragrance review videos, and I have another channel that's dedicated to more kind of like mindset, personal development, fitness, and I do reviews on food and cooking and stuff like that. And then I like to garden. So gardening is, I grow hot peppers. I really like that. I try and stay active, man, or gal. I'm not sure. Actually, no, Lady Cleo. I'm sorry. I'm assuming you're a lady. So yeah, Miss Cleo. Um, those are most of my interests and hobbies. I like movies. Getting into a good series with my wife. Yeah, I used to watch quite a bit of movies, but a lot of the movies that are getting released today are not that great in my opinion. So, it is what it is. I don't know if that's just me getting older. That's actually the sad truth. Um, Traveling. I haven't been traveling as much as I typically do, but just like when life permits, this year coming up, I'll be going quite a few places. So, yeah. How about you? What kind of hobbies do you have? I know, obviously, like fragrances, and I'd love to learn more about you. So, thank you for those questions, Miss Lady Cleo. And the last one is, let's see, user formerly known as T. Okay, so you asked, outside of fragrances, what's the worst smell you've experienced? Oh, good lord. Probably like that catfish bait, which I think is like straight up shit. I don't know what it is, but that smells bad. Catfish bait smells terrible. Um, a dead animal. I walk a lot in the park. I'm in the trails, so I'll smell rotten, nasty, putrid carrion, just gross. Those are awful smells. Sewage is disgusting. Yeah, those are that's that don't enjoy those smells. Are there any weird smells you really like? The AC thing, the air conditioning smell. I think that's kind of weird. I don't think most people even notice that smell. I always ask my wife, "Can you smell it?" She's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So that might just be me. So I think that's a weird smell. This is gonna be probably kind of gross, but I don't know. So I can't smell it. I have, when you wear a watch, especially when you're sweating, uh, and you take it off, there's this kind of like nasty, funky smell that it creates between your watch and the skin. And for whatever reason, it's like one of those scents, like I don't like it, but you keep smelling it. And I'm sure if you're into fragrances or perfume or whatever, that's part of the reason why we like weird stuff, is because it's like, but that's one of those things. I mean, like I said, I can't smell it because I bathe and I'm I'm a clean person, or at least I try to be, and I try and smell good. But that's an odd smell. I think that most people would probably find that I'm pretty weird for like going in for more. Uh, yeah, I mean those are probably some of the ones. Maybe cheese and some food that is supposed to be real funky. I enjoy the smell of those. Um, that some people don't, but that's again like I like kind of getting a challenge to smell. But yeah, I mean, great questions. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all your effort into asking me these questions and the time you took to write them. And please, take my, like sincerity. Like I try in my normal day-to-day life to be more expressive and communicate with people and really convey that I do appreciate the time. Like I know everyone's really busy and has things to do, so your subscribership is invaluable to me, and I hope that I continue to put out content that you appreciate and that you interact with me. And I would love any kinds of questions. You're more than welcome to go and follow me on Instagram, DM me. It's under the same name, TriPoint Sense. My name is Daniel, by the way. I probably have not introduced myself as often as I probably should. But check me out on Instagram. Interact with me there. I think I'm going to start building a community in some form or fashion that we can all talk and get to know each other a little bit better, because I think getting like-minded people together is what life is about, and we can experience things as a group. We're social creatures, we're social animals, or humans, I should say. We're not animals. But yes, thank you again, and I will see you on the next video. Have a wonderful day.